Okay, hey people, not at the bottom of this video. You're just going to hear me this time, but we're moving on to our next textile evaluation activity. In this activity, we're going to be comparing two. We're going to be comparing two different fabrics. So as always, we're going to start with our swatch book, and we're going to go over and we're going to be talking about silk and linen this time. So I'm going to flip through. One thing that I want to make sure you take note of earlier in the book, we talk about stretch fabrics. So on page 16 and 17, they talk about stretch fabrics. And there are some silk stretch fabrics in this mix. I want to make sure you take a chance and just touch and feel them, right? I just want you to get the hand of what a garment that has a silk or a silk blend feels like. So we have silk seersucker here, silk jersey, and silk nylon. So we have silk, sorry, let's do it this way. Silk seersucker, silk jersey, and a silk with nylon and elastin. They feel very different from one another. So oops, these two swatches are stuck together. So I just want you to go through and just touch that, get the hand, the feel of those. So those are on page 19, okay? So for this activity, we are going to compare two fabrics. We're going to compare silk and linen. They are both natural fibers. We talked about that, right? We talked about that. So on page 38, start silk. There is a description again of silk fibers, wild silks and raw silks, and we talked about those in the lecture on silk. And then there's also a whole bunch of information again on silk processing. But you should have that down because we did silk last week. Okay, so what we're going to do for this chapter, remove my post-it. What we're going to do for this chapter is we're going to pull a couple of swatches out and we're going to compare those swatches. Okay, so turn the page. I'm on page on page 41. So there's silk on page 41. We're not going to pull any of these off. These silks on this page are extremely, got a crease. These silks on these page are extremely delicate, so I'm not going to have us use any of those. But again, I want you to just touch and feel them. Again, the book explains what the properties of each one, talks about the weave of each one. So we're not going to pull any of these out. It's your swatch book. You're more than welcome to pull any out that you like. But just for the purpose of this assignment, we're not, okay? So for the purpose of this assignment, we're going to head over to page 41, and we're going to pull out this silk. This still peony. It's yarn dyed, so it's here. You will see that when you pull this one out, this one has an interesting texture. If you look at it, it's actually linen-like. It has a really interesting texture. And when we get to our next activity, we're going to be doing some testing. I'm going to use this fabric again. So we'll do some of the testing that we do on fabric properties. So we'll use this one. So I love this silk du peony because it has a very interesting, that's the word I'm gonna use, interesting hand. I don't want to give too much away because that's part of your assignment, okay? So we're gonna take this out and set it to the side for now. I'm also gonna take out we're also gonna pull out this silk twill. So it's the last one on this page. We're gonna pull out this silk twill as well. And I want to give you so many descriptors, but I'm not going to give them to you. But I'm just going to pull this silk twill up close to the camera so you can get a good look at what it looks like. And if we put them next to each other, you know, what they look like next to each other. So you will be using your pick glass again to look at the weaves, okay? Then we're going to turn the page, and on page 45, we're going to pull out a couple more jerseys here. Oops, did I miss one? Maybe it's something. I must be on the next page. Next page. I missed one. Oh no, I didn't. Those are right. What's the other ones here? I want to pull out this silk. This plain weave silk. I'm going to pull that out as well. So those are the ones that we're going to look at. And this one is a jersey, which I like because it has a good. Again, I don't want to give away the property, so we're gonna set those aside, okay? Then we're gonna go over to our section on linen. Bear with me. I had to put a post-it in there so I can flip easily. We're gonna go to our section on linen. And again, the introductory page, page 49, talks about linen. It talks about how they, the production methods, which we saw in our video. It talks about harvesting and getting it through, and what they do with spinning the two types of fabrics, and ultimately how they get it to knitting and weaving. And for this swatch book doesn't have as many linen swatches in here, in part because it focused, I feel like it focused more on apparel linens than textile, than home fashion linens, even though this heavy linen is definitely, I'm not gonna say it's something where you wouldn't use in apparel, but it's more likely to be used in home fabric. But I'm gonna pull two of these out. We're gonna pull 3 of these out as well. So we're gonna pull out this this lightweight one. Pull out this lightweight. Again, look at that. Right up close. I'm gonna pull out that one. We're gonna pull out this linen and silk, which is gonna be interesting for you to do the comparison on, because you're doing silk. So this one is a blend. It has linen and silk in it. And then finally, we're gonna pull out this linen chambray. So I'm gonna pull out this chambray. Okay. Oops, sorry, the pink flecks that are on there from the previous fabric, so that's not part of the weave. Okay, let's get that out. Okay. So we're gonna do 6 fabrics this time. We're gonna do 6 fabrics, so 3 and 3, comparing a bunch of properties. Okay, so I'm just gonna go to the end of the book just so I have a clean space to work on. Look at all my scraps and pieces. So again, we have our 3 silks. Oops, get this stick. We have our 3 silks. Caught on my nail. We have our 3 silks. Boom, 3 silks. That Dupioni got really wrinkled, which is interesting because that's one of the things you need to evaluate. So we have our 3 silks, and then we have our 3 linens. Okay, so we have our 3 linens. So these are the fabrics that we are going to evaluate in this activity. And I showed you how I put the video up again on how to use your pick glass, but also remember when we get to fabric properties that we take the fabric and we hold it for 30 seconds. And then there's some steps that we do. So we hold it for 30 seconds, right? I'm not gonna hold it for 30 seconds, but we hold it for 30 seconds, and then we make our determination after 30 seconds of it being held. Okay. All right, so that is our next textile evaluation activity. Go ahead and use the form that is in the lecture, and don't hesitate to email me, inbox me if you have questions.